Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. In the second last game of the Premier League season just finished, it's West Ham 0, Man United 0 as they secure second spot and West Ham secure bottom half of the mid-table. Gonzo, not much to talk about in the first half. Adja made a few good saves, pretty much it.
Yes, he certainly kept us in the game with a few good saves. I thought we were quite resolute, actually. Obviously, we were well organised. I think that is how Moyes would like us to be. You know, all those times we were letting in 3 or 4 goals, I think those are the tactics that Moyes wanted. It's just Man United struggled to get through them. I thought they were limited to quite a few long shots, but I felt we did carry a small threat on the break. Having said that,
Charlie went in 0-0 at half time. Not much to talk about in the first half. Was this two sides happy with a point from early on?
Yeah, and Man United just looked like, to be honest, completely toothless without Lukaku. They just didn't look like anyone was even going to commit to dare to go in the box, let alone actually get some shots away from inside it. It was a very, very boring half.
Gonzo, what strange talking point here is not because I'm biased, okay? It's not because we support West Ham, but on the 60th minute, this sort of thing annoys me. Arnautovic went into the box. I think it was Lindelof came flying in on him with the tackle, but Arnautovic stays up, continues, his pass doesn't quite come off, etc. Is this a penalty for you? Because if he goes down, I am adamant that's a pen.
Yeah, it is a penalty, but he doesn't go down. But also, by the same token, if that happens in the midfield, then the referee would have given a foul, if you know what I mean, because it was a foul. But it's funny, isn't it? They almost changed their rules. They play to a version of the rules, the referees, when something happens in the box. Yeah, maybe he should have gone down. Maybe he should have. He's a big, strong boy in Arnautovic. In many respects, I'm pleased he stayed up. It's for the referee to notice that foul. He was quick enough to give a free kick for tugging inside, not that sort of thing, but for inside tugging of the shirts inside the box. He was quick enough to give it for that. So why couldn't he, give it for the other?
These have to start. This is if they want to cut out diving. This is what they have to start doing by rewarding strikers for staying on your feet. If it's a foul, it's a foul. Because I'm adamant, if Arnautovic goes down, that's a pen. At the very least, it's a massive penalty shout. And if that happens in the middle of the pitch, as you said, it's a foul. I think what John Moss would do is allow Arnautovic to continue, but he would stand there waving advantage. He would quite clearly acknowledge it's a foul, but you can continue, etc. I just think it's a pen if he goes down. But it's going to take a referee with serious balls to do that. I'm not blaming John Moss for not giving it, because it would have taken a referee with serious cojones to give a penalty for that when the striker doesn't go down. Frustrating, perhaps, because it's fine margins and it's those type of things that will get you the extra 2 points. Fortunately, we don't need them. Charlie, 66th minute, something strange happened. David Moyes made a sub before the 80th minute. But Andy Carroll come on for Masuaku. We all might have assumed, we went 2 up front. We all might have assumed it was going to be 4-4-2, but then it almost appeared that we stuck the 40 million euro signing, that €1 2016 as an attacking midfielder, at left wing back.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dave has maybe got a bit confused that he criticises us for not doing subs and for playing people out. I'm just going to go mad and did something. I spent a good 5 minutes watching it, trying to figure out what formation we were playing, where Mario was doing it, and whatever. It was a weird choice, but at least we got to see 2 up front, I guess, for a bit. That's a positive, isn't it?
Gonzo, do you think Carroll added that little bit of bite we were missing for the first hour of the game?
He did. I'm just sort of laughing at what Charlie said about Moyes on the touch. I go, hey, let's go crazy. Maybe not so much, So yeah, in terms of Carroll, it did. I was actually quite pleased. It would have been the most long-winded 1-2 in the world, but I was quite pleased when him and Carroll and Arnautovic, tried to combine, and I just almost showed you what we've been missing in many respects. Just having 2 guys up there and 2 guys in attack. Exciting, if you like. Yeah, it was. But when I say exciting, I mean for a couple of seconds.
I was actually ready to praise David Moyes here. I thought, actually, he's got this right. 66 minutes, 0-0. We're keeping Man Utd at arm's length. Now he's bringing on Andy Carroll, switching to a back 4. The 2 midfielders are going to be Mario and Lanzini. I thought, hello, this is creativity. Creswell left back. I thought, we've got crosses coming into the box here with 2 big guys in the box. I thought, this is going to be exciting. Then you've seen Mario moving about the pitch. Then all of a sudden, Mario and Creswell were playing the same position for the rest of the game. They kept getting in each other's way. At one point, Lanzini went up behind Mario and told him to move. And then you could just see Mario was very confused. He didn't know where to go. He kept going inside and having to stop his run, pass the ball, and run all the way back out to the left. It was just a little bit strange. But then Gonzo in the 88th minute, it's probably the best bit of the match, actually. Paul Pogba and Carroll had been booing a little bit, but Mark Noble decided that he was going to take on a guy about a foot taller than him, ran up, chest him. Maybe a red card, would you say, for Noble? I mean, he does grab his face.
No, Noble was just confused. He thought it was a pitch invasion. Clearly, he was just trying to get the West Ham fan off the pitch, I reckon. I mean, Pogba's. I don't care. I'm going to stick up for Mark Noble on this one, actually, because Pogba, I thought he sort of flung out a leg at Carroll just before. He had the little bit of naughtiness with Kiate just before that. Clearly, he wasn't happy that Kiate had ended up on his backside. Clearly, that wasn't quite enough for Pogba, so he thought he'd go and have a little dig at Noble. Noble went into a rage. Noble had enough. He already how contorted his face was. He was angry. He tried to push his thumbs through Pogba's neck. So I don't know why I'm sticking up for Noble. I just feel like I should. I didn't really like Pogba. I thought, go on, Mark, crack on, mate. End of the season. And the commentator saying, oh, no, he might miss the last game of the season. Who cares? Go on, do him.
Well, that was also West Ham's third best attack of the evening. Charlie, do you sort of wish that type of thing happened in the sort of the first half, just to give the game a little bit of something, a little bit of bite?
To an extent, I did love the delicious irony of watching Marko Arnautovic push someone else away who was too angry. He pushed Noble away like, mate, just leave it. And I was like, what is going on here? I guess, yeah, Pogba was clearly very frustrated that Kiate had just been clattering him all evening and they were just hitting against each other in a pointless way. And Noble looked a bit annoyed anyway. And so when it kicked off, I was sitting with a Man United fan and we both got very happy for about a minute because it was actually exciting. If that had happened maybe, like you say, in the first half, at least in the second half, we would have seen something. Unfortunately, it took 90 minutes of 22 men being very bored to get a fight out of everyone.
Man United came to the London Stadium needing a point to gain second. And David Moyes went to the London Stadium perhaps with a point to prove. But Gonzo, one of them happened. The other one maybe didn't happen. But it certainly had that end of season feel to it from the first to the last minute.
Yeah, it was like a testimonial, but without the after you clause where people are allowed to score. It was played at that sort of pace, really, wasn't it? And I do feel that you really saw how isolated Arnautovic was. We say that, of course, we say that a lot. But if you look at the two banks of defenders, it was going to take something really special to break through that. Or just a team that had an intent to do it. And it was long shots, so many long shots. I think Sanchez was trying to, but more with energy than anything else. And he was trying to play 1-2s and almost trying to, use his energy to burst his way through. It was a strange game. A point suited Moyes, I think, which is a strange one because it shouldn't do. As we said before, this was his job interview the second part of his job interview to go and show what he could do. He almost, as you say, tried to do that by changing formation. It was a boring game, let's be fair, but I do think that it was a success in as much as what Moyes was trying to do. I didn't mind it so much. I don't expect anything from the rest of the season. I'm not disappointed really with what's happened. I don't expect any entertainment.
Charlie, what's your thoughts on it? Although it was a bit boring, it sort of suits both teams.
Yeah, I didn't expect anything better when it was Moyes versus Mourinho. I wasn't expecting some sort of masterclass of attacking football management by any stretch of the imagination. It felt like both teams were completely content to have the point. I was shocked that Moyes actually made subs before Mourinho. I thought Mourinho, if he had a little bit more adventure, he could have gone for it. I think if Rashford came on earlier, even Fellaini came on, say in the 60th minute, then they might have been able to get a point from it. But the lack of people in the box for both teams was incredibly evident that this was going to end 0-0. If he said to me before the match, you get a point, I'd be super happy with that. I would have also had no doubts that it would have been a 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. But Mourinho before the game jokingly said that he was here for a point, and I think he actually genuinely was here for a point though, because it keeps him in second. There's no point in him risking it. There's no point in him risking going for 3 points when it's actually going to take them up the table. They can't move. All they need is 1 point from the last 2 games. He's got his point now. He's got the FA Cup final. It now means on Sunday he doesn't have to. He could put the kids out if he really wanted to. It's job done as far as he's concerned. It's probably a job done as far as Moyes is concerned, because well, me and Gonzo and Charlie now are saying that this is sort of his job interview. If you like, it's not his job interview to David Moyes. David Moyes has done his job. He's simply just getting another point on the board, and that's it. He's avoided defeat, if you like. But David Moyes is Mourinho's second manager he's played the most without getting beat by. That's the 11th game that Mourinho's faced David Moyes in, and David has not beat him. Sam Allardyce is the one that Mourinho has played the most. Gonzo, do we need to put this into context a little bit? We would probably have been delighted with a point before the game, truth be told.
Yes and no. I think if you'd have offered people the draw or maybe a loss and to get some young players on the pitch and to play a bit more with a bit more adventure, then I think people would have chosen the second option actually. But that's just how we play. And you know what? I mean, in the spirit of solidarity, let's see Charlie going out and sitting in the pub smoking Jaeger bombs with his Man United friend. I think maybe they will perhaps understand why we're frustrated with our manager's tactics. And I certainly looked at Man U. I'm not going to understand why a club with all that money who can spend 80, 90, 100 million on players would be frustrated with the tactics that they see. Because if that's what they see, then, you know, they're not great. And they are light years behind sort of Liverpool, Man City, certainly as well.
Charlie, player performance this time. There was some good performances, I thought, out there. Would you like to pick out a couple?
Arnautovic again. I think if he had more support and more players around, if he could do stuff. There were one or two flashes where all of a sudden it looked like he could create something almost by himself. There was that João Mario chance in the first half, I think it was, which was the big one. I think Adrian had a good game, especially that double save, the one where he did it with his foot in the second one. I thought that basically kept us in the game. They were probably the biggest ones. I thought Declan Rice had another good game. The amount of time, I think my friends who support other teams are getting a bit sick of me going on about how good Declan Rice is, but I think he just looks so assured of himself, and especially in a back three when he does have a little bit of cover as well. I think he's just going to keep getting better and better and better, and I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Allardyce try and beat him next week.
Gonzo, good performances, bad performances. Choose your weapon.
Yeah, Rice, what a great shout. I love the way he tried to take the ball forward just by running into space. There was one point he did it, and actually there's no one to pass to, and it ended up right back with Ogbonna, who then passed it to Lanzini, who was at left back. I thought, oh, what is this crazy tactics? Anyway, Zabaleta was a steady stint. Ogbonna, Adrian, we've obviously discussed Arnautovic. He's absolutely right. Mario was a little bit better. I thought a little bit today. Tired towards the end. So I think it's. I thought Lanzini was not his usual self, if you like, not quite as creative and on it as much as obviously Kiate. Charlie said that he kept Pogba was annoyed because Kiate kept on bumping into him because he didn't mean to. He's just that lacks coordination. He was just trying to run around the pitch and pass and do his normal stuff, and in the process was clattering into people and falling over. Somebody said on the forum earlier, he seems to have lost control of his legs. It's like somebody else is controlling his legs. And I thought that was quite a good description of Kiate. But I do think Adrian probably kept us in it, particularly with that double save in the first half.
You said Mario got tired towards the end. I think he just got strangled with the tactics. He got sort of compromised, if you like, in order to get the extra attacker on. I thought he was one of our best players for the first 66 minutes. His touches, there was a couple of times he got the ball in tight situations and he would flick it and turn and stuff. And he did it at Anfield, but he got caught out and they went and scored. But he's got that ability in him. He's got that technique. He's able to find passing lanes, if you like. He can see the passing lanes. He tries to get there. You can tell Zabaleta is a Man City boy because he was up for it tonight. He was chasing everything. At some points, he was chasing the footballs he was never going to get. It was going back to De Gea, and you were watching. You thought, don't bother running because you're the right back now, 50 yards out of position, but he still chased it because you can just tell he's a City boy. But if everybody had that work ethic, and this is what frustrates me, that we don't press as a team. There's a couple of times the ball gets an optimistic pass will go forward and it'll go towards a corner and the person will just chase it. The defender gets in, just passes sideways, and the rest of the team are all just watching. You think if you only just moved up as a team, that ball would have went into row Z, then the whole team can then move up and get the throw in and stuff. So it's a little bit frustrating. But I thought Zabaleta and Mario, for me, were the two best outfielders tonight, actually. But man of match time, I thought we were all going to pick the same one, but listen to you two now. I'm not too sure. Charlie, would you like to kick us off with your prestigious award?
It's for me. I think it's got to go for Arnautovic again, just because looking at the people on the pitch and the way they played, he was the only person I thought if we were going to do something, it was through him. And a couple of flashes, like you say, if the team pressed up higher with him, if he actually had some support, I think we might have got away with a goal, possibly 2 tonight. So for me, it's got to be him.
Gonzo?
I don't know how many saves he made, but 3, 4, 5. He made a number of saves, which would have ended up in the back of the net at a time when we don't really know our first choice keeper is. That's 2 clean sheets on the bounce. So I mean, I've got to give it to Adrian.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you there, Gonzo. I thought he was fantastic. That save from Luke Shaw, it was that good. I didn't know he touched the ball, and I always say that's a sign of a top class save is when you're not sure the keeper has touched the ball. And I had to watch that replay in order to know that Adrian had touched it onto the post and that. He was brilliant. His distribution's a bit frustrating at times. There's a couple of times you could see Rice and Noble both waving their arms about when he had the ball, and he would just stand there waving them up the pitch, and he would just boot it long. And this was before Carroll was on the pitch. So you're like, when a player wants the ball, give it to them, because that's their responsibility. If they're not calling for it and you give it to them, you're taking a risk there. But if there's a player standing there with their arm up and there's clearly no one around him, they also want to just give it to them. It's their call. It's their call. Give them it. So, but apart from that, I don't want to be too critical because he was fantastic and he did everything else right. He kept us in it. In the first half, I tweeted out that it was Adrian 0, Man United 0, and I meant that because his saves were brilliant. But anyway, that's it from us. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow night. Myself, Gonzo, and a special guest because it's the end of the season. He's been on the channel a few times, so you might know who it is. I can only describe him as the most enthusiastic West Ham fan you will see on the channel. Subscribe if you're new around here. Drop your comments below on what you thought of the match. Probably nothing. And we'll see you tomorrow night.